and today I'm going to be talking about the impact of conserving traditions in the United States. Hello. Alright, for background knowledge, I'll be talking about progressivism, which is a political movement towards equality for everyone, according to Cambridge Dictionary in 2025. An example of this would be Woodrow Wilson, our 28th president, who gave women the right to vote. However, some say he was racist as he was an apologist for slavery. Alright, conservatism is commitment of keeping the past values in the present times, according to Stafford EU in their article titled Conservatism in 2015. An example of this would be the current president, Donald Trump, who removed climate change policies, however, ended illegal crossings on the U.S. and Mexico border. Alright, now looking at United States traditional ideas, according to Walter Nuttall in his book titled Conservatism in 2015. The first traditional idea being in the interest in the American people, which is the heavily interest in only Americans. A time of this would be during the signing of the Declaration of Independence, when interest in the American people is at an all-time high. Another idea would be strong American identity, which is to be proud of your country, such as this boy is right now as he salutes the flag. Throughout my research, I read the article False Nostalgia by Johan Milberg in 2022. This is him. And a quote I really like from it, but it, being nostalgia, is also easily abused by political forces who claim they can restore the greatness they have lost, in paragraph 12. And this is important because the past is what we decided to be, and which is a quote explained is that political forces might use it. We're looking in the United States, through both sides of the political party and the presidency, the bipartisan legislative system, and the non-biased judicial branch. Which led me to that question is, how do traditional ideas impact United States citizens? Throughout my research, as I will show you, I concluded that the past should not be idolized in American politics because they favor high-income United States citizens. They reduce personal freedoms amongst Americans, and nostalgia overall will distort the past. Firstly, looking at it economically, according to Salona Garcia, 2022, in her peer-reviewed journal, she found that a rich votes to benefit the rich. And overall, Republicans will often vote in order to be rich, and Democrats vote for equality. Such as shown in this graph from Ken Worthy in 2025, the more rich you were, the more likely you were to vote for Bush, who was a Republican president. Now looking at it socially, according to Chakroff et al. In 2015, a cognitive neurologist, he found that conservatism might be found to put pure actions over harmful actions. So it's just shown in this graph, the dark bars outline harmful judgments, and the light bars demonstrate impure actions. When a harmful act is made, it is more likely to have a harmful reaction, and when an impure act is made, there's more likely to be an impure reaction, which shows the flaws in judgments, as when a harmful action is made, you most likely make a harmful judgment which will harm whoever you are judging. Alright, now the importance of tradition, according to Beto in 1994, who was a journalist. He found that there's many problems in the present, such as alcoholism and mental health being at an all-time low. So it only makes sense to go back to the past where these problems were not found. Which is the whole entire idea that I found throughout my research that conservatism found, is that the era that we live in is bad, in that if we go back into the past, it most likely will solve those problems. However, Robert Waves points out in 2012 in his book called Who We Are, he says the past was not that good, and if we were living in the past, we would most likely also find problems. And we can't idolize the past, because if we do, more than likely, we will only end up harming ourselves as we try to go to something that is impure. So overall, nostalgia has a strong influence in American politics. As my quote from Johan Norberg is saying, nostalgia will continue to try to be used by politicians in order to gain access to power, or the idea that problems can be solved throughout access to the past ideas. So my call to action is, as Americans, we need to not think by going into the past and instead moving into the present. Moving forward progressively allows us to build onto ideas and move forward as a country. It is important to vote, to make sure you vote in favor of candidates that will promote the ideas of Americans in this way. It is also really important to make sure you hold your local representatives accountable for calling them and emailing them and observing the way they vote, which will allow you to hold them accountable. Here is my works cited for my stimulus material, and here is the rest.
Thank you.
Of course.
Okay, I have 2 questions for you. Preston, how did your research question evolve as you moved through your research process?
Alright, when I started my research after reading my stimulus material, I began out with a research question on how does conservatism impact progressivism in the United States, which evaluated change in continuity in the United States. However, through my research, I found that conservatism has an impact directly on United States citizens in the present, which made me think about the idea that I should evaluate the impact of conservatism today, which led me to my recent research question on how do traditional ideas impact the United States citizens.
Thank you. Okay, and then for your second one. What are the implications of your call to action to the community?
Locally, my call to action in Virginia Beach is to improve the broken sectors of the economy, such as tourism, which has been on a decline. If we hold our local representatives accountable, we'll make sure that they vote in order to benefit our local community instead of their own interests. And nationally, if we listen to my call to action, we allow our country to move forward and to improve by making our representatives listen to the people instead of themselves.
Thank you. Emily, is it white?
No.